Hello and welcome back to the Castle Desk. We have a special guest with us here right now. We have benched Kobe only briefly, but Ablazeolive is here, recipient of a 5-game series recently.
Yes.
Hopefully we get another one from you as well. How you doing, man?
I'm feeling fantastic. I've never casted before, so I'm a bit nervous, but I'm really hoping
It's gonna be a banger. Don't worry, it's gonna be
I'm sure
good.
it will be.
Yeah.
I hope EG puts a bit. Oh wow!
See?
Oh,
We got the crowd.
Wow! Thank you, thank you.
They love you as much as they love Blaber killing crabs.
I
And
mean,
that's a lot.
I'm not sure anybody loves anything more than Blaber loves killing crabs.
But we're ready to go into this one. Vi, first ban here for Cloud9. EG with side selection chose red.
Yeah, and I think that's such an interesting adaptation, right? We're seeing, more of that. TL obviously went red later in their series. More people feeling like the counter picks, being able to see more of the enemy draft becomes more important. And I think it's also, somewhat to do with the addition of like Poppy and Sejuani becoming more flex picks. They had been like almost exclusively played in one role, and over the last couple of weeks in some regions, we're seeing them flex a lot more often, which does make red side, I think, a lot harder to kind of deal with.
And I think Poppy was something that I believe fell through the draft last game, which did surprise me because EG had priority on that at the end of the regular season. So I'm curious if that stays like that or if something changes.
Even with Trundle ban, right? Like, it was a Trundle ban on blue side. I thought Poppy would get in that draft, like, for sure.
Yeah, but it was the flex for the C9 side, and EG wanted a bigger carry, right? Like, well, we've got Yuumi, so we could go Poppy and have a tank, or we can go Hecarim, Inspire 1v9, which is kind of his forte here. But yeah, we got a lot of different bans here. Seraphine at the table. Silas still gone on the Cloud9 side, but Sivir is now out.
Yeah, Sivir banned out, and Zeri. Very interesting. I wonder if Yuumi still remains really high prio here with kind of primo AD carries that you would pair it with gone.
Yeah, something that we were actually thinking about in our series against CLG is when Sivir and Zeri are both banned, is Yuumi priority just gone?
Yeah.
Because those are the two carries you really want to play with Yuumi, and it seems like C9 is not really prioritizing that.
Yeah, it's really, really interesting, right? I think Wukong first pick does make some sense, but Poppy as an answer is really strong. It is in Inspired's wheelhouse. Like, that is such a strong answer for him. So I'm really curious to see if EG still has prio on Zeri. Are they willing to do something like Poppy Zeri here? Excuse me, not Zeri, Yuumi, I should be saying. Because, yeah, I mean, there are other pairings you can go for, and some of the jungle pairings can be really strong as well. Like we saw that with Hecarim. I think that's a really strong duo that we haven't seen a lot of. Obviously, scales really well with some of the aggressive mid laners, too. Like, if you want to go, like, LeBlanc and things like that, which JoJo does love. So, C9 not willing to grab it. EG still happy to play it, and now they're going for a potential flex pick here of the Sejuani of their own.
Very surprising. I think this Sejuani prio is quite interesting to me because it wasn't something that I was particularly seeing a lot of, but I did see it a lot in other regions, especially in the LPL. So I'm curious to see if this is going to just be another jungle Sejuani or it's going to go into the top lane.
Well, I think that's just kind of the beauty of playing red side when flex picks are powerful, right? It's what is the blue answer? Like, you don't know where this is going, right? So I do think it makes your 2-3 a lot more difficult. It gives the red side more options, especially in the second round of bans, because they know exactly where they want to put it, right?
It does lose some value, though, because C9 have already locked in Wukong, and you're pretty confident that's going into the jungle. So you're not necessarily getting a ton of value because you don't have to blind something still. I think EG is likely going to play something exciting, though.
I want to see what comes out of this one right now. Aphelios is in, though, for Berserker. Has been an absolutely outstanding champion for him, especially. Gets it alongside Renata Glasc. Of course, Yuumi was grabbed, so triple Enchanter on the docket already at this point. Well, I guess to say double Seraphine's not really played support very much anymore, but Yuumi Renata is going to be the trade, and EG needs one final pick. They can take it unanswered mid, cover it with bans. Azir is up, for example, or go somewhere else entirely.
And Renata is fairly generically strong, but I generally feel like it's strongest into hard engage, right? And I actually love this Ezreal pick here now as a result. If you go non-committal here and you play like a long range, mage mid, you play Yuumi plus Ezreal, Renata ulti is just absolutely worthless.
Yeah, I really like this Ezreal adaptation. I was wondering what they were going to pair with the Yuumi, and one of the old counters into Aphelios a few seasons ago was Ezreal.
Yep.
You don't see much Ezreal anymore, but when C9 blinds it in this situation, Ezreal is perfect with Yuumi.
And this was totally a Danny special. Like, when Yuumi plus Ezreal were absolutely meta, they were going for all the time, and they were dominating with it. So I'm really interested to see, what JoJo would grab here. We talked about things, like pairings like LeBlanc and Yuumi can be really strong later on in the game. What would you be thinking about in this draft with what you've seen so far for mid lane picks on both sides?
Well, I like the Renekton ban. I think Renekton mid is quite underrated. It was played a lot in the LPL by Doinby, unsurprisingly, but I think it is actually quite strong, and especially when you have Sejuani, that is such a strong mid jungle. So I'm not surprised to see C9 banning that. I am a bit surprised that... I mean, I just don't know where this is going because I feel like Impact's not the kind of player to really abuse a Sejuani combination. Like, I don't see Impact playing a lot of Camille.
Yeah.
So...
Maybe like an Aatrox or something along those lines.
Yeah, maybe. Aatrox
right?
is good. That's a good one.
Because I do think, you know, there are a number of those melee pairings that can be good with Sejuani. They also can just slap him on the Sejuani, and then that's really his style. You know, he is more of like the bruiser guy than the like hard carry split push style guy for sure. But there are some of those picks in there that can work really well. And if Fudge ends up having to blind and does go something more on the tanky side, could be good.
My thing is always, I want to see a fighter with Yuumi. I think her best synergy, like, the reason that she scales so well is getting on a 4-item fighter and been like, you like move speed, you like attack speed, you like the shield, you like the heal, your melee range for my ult to attack the entire team. Like, you don't want to be on an Ezreal late game. It's fine for a while, you're safe, you'll scale, he likes the AD ratios, but get the entire kit, something like Aatrox. Yeah,
and there the Aatrox is coming in. I think if what C9 needs to do is make sure that JoJo cannot pick Akali on 5, because Akali Sejuani Aatrox is like a really good topside 3v3, and I really like the LeBlanc cover because I think you want to make sure that they can't get that Akali. Don't give another melee for Sejuani to synergize with. So I really like this LeBlanc lock-in because a lot of the counters to LeBlanc don't synergize well with Sejuani. You want to pick stuff like Lissandra or, you know, Vex, but those don't do well with Sejuani. Wow.
This is like the solo queue answer to Aatrox. It's so easy to get the parry on Q3 every time, and Aatrox cannot win the all-in without landing the Q3 generally. So it kind of relegates Aatrox to trying to poke away and prod and not really look for these committed all-ins. So it is, I think, a very Fiora-favored matchup. Lissandra, one of the answers that you just talked about, you know, as you're saying, doesn't necessarily synergize as well with the rest of this because it feels like you're kind of have, you know, a bot side that wants to poke and play it slow. Now you're kind of pairing that with some hard engage. But that being said, you know, Ezreal can throw a lot of damage over top. You know, if you are having, you know, the Aatrox flanking in, Lissandra and Sejuani going in, trying to lock someone down.
This is definitely a very interesting draft from EG. I really do not like Sejuani and Lissandra together, though. I think they're basically the same champ. They both have really powerful CC ultimate abilities, and as the mid jungle from C9, you can very easily itemize against that. Once Wukong gets Merc's Maul, he's unkillable against the mid jungle, and LeBlanc just has to get any tenacity from anything, probably Merc Treads, and he will be really safe the whole game. So I really don't like this because I feel like this doesn't play to JoJo's strengths. Like, I don't think he wants to pick, just for the team comp, really weak laning in the 2v2.
Yeah, but it's the play he's got right now, so we'll see if it's going to work out in the end. Damage maybe a bit mediocre. Ezreal, of course, can pump out damage, but a lot of it is poke, a lot of it's pre-fight. We'll see if that gets sustained back up or anything else. But we do have the end of the draft. Evildinius and Cloud9, quick fist bumps to the coaching staff, and EG, surprisingly, on the back foot in this series. They got a single kill. They got a first blood in mid lane. JoJo and Inspired combined to kill Jensen, and then nothing else happened all game long. Cloud9 ran the map. EG say, okay, we'll come back. Game 2, pick red side, rely on counters. Ezreal, Yuumi, they've got an Aatrox here for impact. And hey, Lissandra was the answer into LeBlanc. Will it happen? Or are Cloud9 going to be on match point early in this series? Hit the rift to see who it's going to be. Game 2 between Cloud9 and Evil Geniuses.
It's going to be a really interesting one. You know, with EG already down a game, it becomes such an important one to actually be able to take back. I have to say, though, I do like that Cloud9 is committing more to having Fudge on these split pushers. I think he plays them so well. You know, I think back to some of the games he had early on in this split, even in losses on the Fiora, like where he almost had these 1v9 performances. There's this fight that's burned into my brain on bot side tri-push.
Yeah. I remember that one,
right?
too.
It's like, you know, so he definitely can do it. Just had a monster Camille game. And if you can win back-to-back, you know, on these split push threat carries, it's like, that kind of takes away a lot of the comfort picks from Impact, right? Because that is his wheelhouse where he goes for these kind of safe, stable blind picks.
He can't know he's on this ward, right? There's no way he doesn't know. Oh, he's prepping Q3.
But then that would be useless unless you're willing to actually flash.
Yeah, it doesn't seem likely that that'll work. I will say I'm really not a big fan of the EG draft. I think the 5th pick counter pick for Lissandra in this game is really not, I feel like the impact's not going to be felt because you really want to synergize well with the Sejuani when you pick these champions. I think LeBlanc needed to be banned so you could pick something like the Akali. Akali can be played in a lot of situations, but not necessarily into LeBlanc.
Alrighty, well, we'll get a second opinion on this draft because we're getting a word with Cloud9's head coach, Max Waldo.
Thank you very much. I am here with Max Waldo. Max, I've heard that scrims have been going pretty well for Cloud9. You don't have to tell me if that's true or not, but how are you feeling with the team in preparation for the week?
Yeah, I think it's pretty true. I think right now we're the best we've ever been, like the whole year. So I do think scrims have been going pretty well. I like how we're playing. I think we're doing really well.
Yeah, certainly reflects. Obviously about this game though, especially for Fudge in the top lane. Obviously Camille last game, Fiora this game.
Yeah.
Is you just giving him more agency? What's happening here with these a bit more aggressive counter picks?
But yeah, it's really important that like when Impact's blinding a tank that we're able to get a counter pick that's like winning and convincing in the game. So you pick like Camille against Ornn and it's actually winning. It's beating him in side lane, so it's really important. It sets a tone. You're not just going to blind pick a tank.
Yeah.
We're getting a counter pick out.
All right, so far so good. Oh,
yeah.
You have more?
Similar stuff happening in
Yeah.
the bot lane where there's a lot of bot lane bans coming out and there's a lot of pinches happening. We beat their Yuumi in game 1, so now obviously they ran it back. We're going to see. We're probably going to beat it again.
Yeah, all right. Seems like it. Max, seems like things are going well. Get back there, and thanks again.
Thank you.
All right, back to the cast.
That's very cool. I mean, it's kind of what I was talking about in draft, where it's like if you can get these picks that are punishing these blind tanks, it totally changes how EG has to play. But inspired with the wraparound, this can swing the matchup heavily.
Fudge is 3 though, so he has her post now to get rid of maybe Sejuani Q. You just stun her out and you're not going to get stunned yourself, but
Yeah, they're waiting
they want to
for
make
3.
this play.
They're waiting for 3 on impact, and I think they're going to look.
See if they get it right now. Chain's going to land pretty good damage here. The chain across. No, the claw doesn't get reactivated in time. First blood early here for Blaber.
And that is huge. This matchup is not as hard for LeBlanc as it may seem. It is actually a very swingy matchup. If LeBlanc gets ahead, Lissandra will have a very hard time, and this is the perfect start for Jensen.
And the top side doesn't amount to anything either for Inspired. So committing the time up there, Fudge now way up in farm. Going to be just needing to reset that.
Oh. That was about the crab. I don't know. I guess we're still doing it. That's fine. It's like the wave in the audience.
That's what Jojo wanted to do on the gank.
Oh, yeah.
Right there, where he eased out and doesn't get hit by the root, but
Yeah, time
maybe a
to
bit of
slightly
nerves. Maybe a bit of nerves.
Look at the damage per minute there that was just popped out for Danny. His average was almost 900 DPM on Ezreal. Like, that's it. Like, excuse me? Like, just casually putting out 1,000 DPM.
Yeah, that's like a season high for like plenty of players. Like, I got one game,
Yeah, yeah.
900, and it's like, wow, good job, dude.
Just another Tuesday for
Across
Danny.
7, dog. Like, no big deal. Well, Jojo, gonna look for, wave clear plus tag enemy champion. Always the ideal here. Baits the claw root, doesn't get anything.
So you're talking about how this matchup can get, very difficult for Lissandra now. So, if you're Jensen, how do you actually push the pace of this game, right? You've already gotten the first kill on Jojo. He does still have his flash. Are you calling your jungler back? And how do you want to play it out?
Well, I think you really need to get some more levels. I want to point out that he has Resolve secondary, so I assume that he has Unflinching there on the...
He has
Resolve
unflinching bone plating.
Yes, Unflinching, and that will really help against the Sejuani Lissandra. It does look like maybe Wukong took a lot of experience because this lane is not going as I would have expected, but if you look at the items aren't actually like that favorite to LeBlanc. It's actually Lissandra with Doran's Ring, which is a better laning item than Dark Seal. So I think once Jensen maybe gets to Mercs, if he's building that, or gets some more gold, this lane will feel a lot more comfortable. Right now, he just got through the early game.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't actually get to watch the early trading because we were watching mostly on top lane. We just got to see that kill. But Jojo, at the time of the kill, it was 18 CS to 10, right? So he was actually significantly ahead. I think in the early trading that had been happening. And as a result, like you say, First Blood goes on to Lissandra, but Wukong got the kill. LeBlanc didn't get the kill and was already losing that lane. So it doesn't always put you as much ahead as you would expect. It's like your lane opponent died, but your jungler is the one who really got ahead off of it.
Looks like the recall both TB back in, and ultimately feels pretty solid here. Mana plus boots on the one side, boots plus amp tome on the other. Feels probably slightly better for Jensen, a bit more damage in the trades. Overall, a 300 gold to Cloud9, with when you consider it's 500-600 for the first blood. That is overall slightly better laning for the EG side. We can see gold in individual places, slightly up for Danny. Mid lane just bang on equal, and everyone else pretty happy. It's just Blaber holding the lead.
I want to call attention to the timer in the game. It's 6 minutes. This is generally when pro teams will start talking about Herald. This early, you want to talk about how your bot lane is setting up, because generally you talk about if you win the 3v3 in the top side, and in this case, I might honestly favor it to... I mean, it's a bit of a toss-up, but it's probably just skill-based, and that means it's going to really depend on the bot lane and the bot lane situation.
Oh, that's going to be the root in place, though. He jumps into double guns, and Danny has to flash back out to safety. Summoners are down for the entire EG bot lane. Berserker flashed in for the slow, and Danny serves himself up on a silver platter and turns his bot lane into gold.
Oh, can Jojo get both?
Yeah, I mean, he can't even recall, so it's going to be jojopyun set up for a double right here. Thank you very much. Berserker knows best he can do is an execute, buys as much time as possible. Yuumi, both kills are unassisted, so the best it could have been for a 2-for-2.
Still, great roam from Jojo to actually bail them out, right? Because that was an absolute disaster. Berserker getting those kills. Danny just shifted so aggressively. I'm not sure, you know, if he thought he would just dominate that trade that heavily that they wouldn't be able to actually fight back. But when you shift in early, the E cooldown is super long now at those low ranks.
Yeah. I'm curious how much he's practiced this situation, because I feel like Sivir's area is so common as a matchup. You might not have practiced this Ezreal lane that often. So it might be maybe some uncomfortable situations there.
I mean, it's a 28-second cooldown at rank 1, which is where he is. So he hits the E, and he just goes in for that quick trade. But the root is there, right? And Danny realizes his mistake immediately, does heal early before the Ignite went up, but there's just no outrunning this. The bailout from Renata giving you that additional move speed is going to close the gap.
Yeah, I mean, super well played by C9's bot lane. I think this also ended up being C9 will have a push now. Oh,
Last one to the Jensen, but here comes a little bit more attention. Not going to matter too much. Out the go. Good gank by Inspired. You know, Jojo didn't ult anything. It was already down, so just getting the flash out of the mid lane.
Gotta say, Jojo's doing great in this lane. Despite the fact that he actually died, he has been the one that, you know, is up pressure. He's up 2 waves, maybe from now.
Beautiful. Jojo trying to flash to make room for the claw. Not going to happen.
Curse. It's the classic.
You know, I always thought about saying, like, in a game if I died, oh, the casters probably said something bad. That'd be a funny way to get over it.
I will say, if Sunger praises a lot this split, I'm sorry.
Oh, no.
Yeah. We've spent on too many Golden Guardians.
I appreciate it, though. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. Well, Danny, just going to get his farm on the bottom side. I'll say best mid Tom Kench in the LCS. Blaze all over here.
True.
Not in meta anymore.
Bring it back.
Actually, really?
It was a meta for what,
No.
one game?
No.
I think
No, it was like almost the entire last summer split was like a lot of mid TK. There were like 8 games of it.
Really?
Either way, though, it's going to be Herald grab. It is Evil Geniuses claiming it. Now down in gold, but not only has Inspired grabbed 2 of the 3 small crabs, he gets the big one as well.
Cool.
Yeah, and I think this really came about from the kill.
Crowd not happy.
Crowd very unhappy with that. This, I believe, came out from the kill. Something that isn't talked about a lot is death tempo. When you die, you actually come out faster than the opponent because the opponent has to kill you and then push out the wave and then recall. And when you die, you get a speed boost to get back onto the map faster. So I believe Jojo had TP.
It helps me out a lot.
Yeah, I believe Jojo had TP, so the speed buff wasn't super important, but EG felt confident to start the Herald because he still had ulti and C9 didn't.
Yeah, it was really good. So it is Jojo 1 and 2, but again, thankful for him. Jensen only getting assists on these kills, so not paid back nearly as heavily as you would expect. And you can see the XP bars right there, both level 8. So Jojo more or less fine.
Yeah, doing all right in the matchup for sure. But Blaber on Wukong, you know, definitely a champion that scales pretty darn well with gold. So it is going to be a problem still. And he's going to get to an early Sunder as a result. Already has all the components, and that is going to be very threatening here for Danny. You know, it's going to be really up to, it feels like, Blaber and Jensen mostly to try to threaten Danny in these team fights.
I think it was really big that EG got this Herald because I think both side lanes from C9, Fiora and Aphelios both really utilize Herald well. They both absolutely shred towers. The top lane is going a bit, pretty well for Fudge, up 10 CS, but usually this matchup doesn't get too bad until like that 1 item spike, maybe 2 item. So EG needs to maybe do something with the Herald to get Aatrox to be comfortable in this situation because I don't think Aatrox wants to be just sitting farming even against Fiora.
It's such a hard matchup because it is one of those, oh, nice sidestep on the repose there from Impact, but it's just a tough one. It's like, it's one of those matchups that's not that easy early and you get outscaled.
Yeah.
And those are just really, really difficult ones to deal with because Grasp Fiora is not a weak laner, right? Like,
no.
Level 1, you're really strong.
Yeah.
You know, it's like there are opportunities for Aatrox, as you say, pre-1 item, to be able to kind of get those winning trades. But when you're down on itemization, you know, he has a worse buy, it's very difficult to actually find those windows. And it's always kind of that ticking clock of Fiora is going to get to that point where you stand no chance in the 1v1.
Both junglers here, but information known about Inspired entirely. He was basically on a war. They're going to try right now. Here comes the play. First root comes in. A stun as well. Claws to safety. Can they get the re-engage, though? Damage coming across pretty well. Half health on Inspired. No kills.
And this is kind of the power of that C9 2v2. Sejuani, Lissandra kind of do the same thing, and Wukong blocked, I believe. Oh, it just knocked up Sejuani. Sejuani didn't end up ulting. I'm sure if that was just a standard gank, that would be Inspired ulting LeBlanc when she got CC'd, but because of the Wukong ulti blocking for LeBlanc, they end up winning, getting the better end of that 2v2, And if you look at the item difference, it's not really surprising they won. Blaber sitting on a full Divine Thunder, extremely strong in the game.
And down towards bot side, we see the trade of flashes there. Zven looking for that flash handshake. Danny having to respect it, does flash back. You know, yes, they did go down, but his farm is still fine, and we know that Danny is going to be a terror in the team fights. But it's been such an impressive start from Cloud9, and I have to say, I don't think I gave them as much of a chance as they clearly deserved in this series. You know, I was looking at EG as the heavy favorite. I think based on the predictions, most people were. But Cloud9 is coming out, and we heard Max Waldo talking about how he thinks they're playing the best they have all year, but looking for a gank now.
Stuns on 01. Is it going to hit the kill on Zven? Is the question, because here comes Wukong. No look for the Berserk's going to hit it at Ezreal. Auto's coming across, locked in place. Blaber, 3 kills in a row now. Inspired, trying to stay alive, but his flash is already down. Yuumi will not save him. Double kill comes across, and a Claw to safety. 2 for 0. Blaber everywhere at the right times.
And I have to say, C9 is playing so well right now. This is the second time in like 2 minutes that Blaber has counter-ganked Inspired's gank in a lane. And both of them were so critical. I think his Herald might be running out as well.
Oh, these gonna...
Okay. They're both so critical because if either of these plays happened, that would have given EG the timing to get a Herald play off.
Herald gonna expire before he respawns? Oh,
yeah.
He's got
he just spawned it, I believe.
Did he spawn it?
Yeah, he did.
Okay. So it's literally in base though, which gives you so much time to actually respond to it, right? And I don't even think it's gonna get plates.
Probably not.
Probably not. Like, it seems pretty easy to at least hold it to prevent plates, so...
Yeah, I mean, the problem is that you have it's in the top lane where the Fiora has a Divine Thunder and you have an Aatrox. So I don't think you're going to go top lane and feel confident that you're going to get this Herald any value out of this because you just lose 2v2.
And Wukong's just running straight up, right? We see on the minimap that Blaber is just heading right up there.
Yeah, but the Yuumi is also coming up, so maybe there's something to happen there. But it's almost dead.
Yeah, that's a rough one. When
hate to
that's
see
kind of
it.
like your big advantage that you've got, and you do lose that. But so much credit deserved by Blaber. He's had an amazing game, right? You said it, right place, right time, counter ganks mid, down towards bot, counter ganks that. Those were plays that would have been EG winning plays, and he's just kind of had Inspired's number so far in this series.
And you can't understate how important those counter ganks were because both of those, like I said, would have led into a Herald play where that lane would shift to another lane to drop it, or they would just drop it after killing them. So, yeah, really excellently played by Blaber.
I mean, absolutely. Based on the way that EG plays, I think if they kill bot, they just give the turret to Danny, right? It's like that's generally EG's style, is that they drop Herald, they leave it, give as much of the gold as possible to Danny, really try to accelerate this Ezreal, but he is not ahead. It is Berserker that is on the Gale Force, has the tier 2 boots already, is playing Cleanse, so, you know, gonna be feeling pretty good. Do you think that Zven should just like do a really early Mikhails this game? Mikhails feels such high value against Liss and Sejuani.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, I do see sometimes supports just rushing one of the other like enchanter items.
Yeah.
Like sometimes I see Chemtech Petrifier.
Yep.
Mikhails is quite high value here, but I think because there's a cleanse on Berserker and LeBlanc is going Merrick Treads and has unflinching, maybe not as high value as it would be normally. So I don't think it'll happen this game, but I think that is going to be a good second item at the very least.
Yep.
I do want to talk about builds, actually, because EG has some interesting builds. The first thing I noticed is Divine Thunder on Ezreal, which I think used to be really bad. And I want to go to Phreak because...
I haven't looked since the Divine Thunder like rework, so I actually couldn't tell you if it's definitely great. I mean, Triforce builds used to give you like the first big power spike. There was so much power all at once. Hold on. Yeah, Impact is get away. One more Q would kill. Fudge could flash follow. He's going to try, and he gets into the tower. Fudge solo kills Impact.
Back-to-back games. Fudge finds the solo kill with the counter pick here. Cloud9 are just looking like a completely different team, showing up huge in playoffs.
This is like what you would think would happen if you swap the names. Like you come into the series, you like, oh yeah, EG just cleanly won game 1. Second game, they're just stomping C9. But no, this is C9 playing amazingly. And I think you can't take credit away from them because they're not, like EG is making plays that are good, but C9 is just countering them so well.
A little bit of damage coming back around here again. Good sidestep on what would be the slow. Gets the chain. Jojo might have to self-ult. Health bar is so incredibly low. Knows he doesn't have the damage to kill him, and Jojo holds the ulti, gets out.
I gotta give some credit to Jojo there. I would have self-ulted that chain 100%. Like, there's no shot I'm not doing that. knowing the damage thresholds, is that something that you would have felt comfortable taking that damage? Because I think that is one of the most impressive skills when I'm watching pro play, is people knowing the numbers exactly, not feeling that they have to flash an ability coming out, not feeling they have stealth ult.
I'm not surprised if he would do that in a scrim.
Yeah.
Like, I would expect that to happen in a scrim, but to do it like on stage is pretty ballsy. So, I mean, it's very good from Jojo to not ulti there because it was not necessary, but you really have to be confident in yourself, and
yeah.
Jojo's not lacking confidence, clearly.
That's definitely true.
Blaber tries for mid. If Daddy wanted to go for any poke at all, he'd be getting himself killed. Herald will drop the turret to about 1,000 health, a bit under. See if they can go for any more out of that one. 0-0 turret score. Fudge crushing in the bottom lane. Engage looking at the mid lane, but they only root Blaber's clone. The re-engage not going to come through. The flash in, knock up to there, but they stun him. Oh, in front of the Ezreal. Just a complete int by Blaber. Gets nothing done.
Blaber goes really deep, and they can't even follow up on it because it was an instant TP from Impact. And Danny gets a shutdown. That is a worst case scenario there. That was a 750 gold like total kill. So 450 on the bounty, I believe, because he was 4-0.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of what you get with Blaber, right? Like, he has an amazing early game and then randomly just jumps in 1v3. Not necessarily 1v3, his team was there, but a bit too overzealous. And I think that was a weird timing for them to look for the kill.
Oh, wow. Fudge is on the flank. A flash for Danny. A stun's going to land it for now. Didn't manage to repost it in time. Will the re-engage look good? Fudge is almost out of mana. Impact's here. Double root comes in for JoJo. And it's going to be Berserker falling. Bailout will not last long enough. Zven's trying to run, but he's just Renata with no summoners. Impact slows the moves. He's got a Yuumi. He's got a knockup. And we're going to see EG with signs of life. Couple of kills coming through. We're back in this game.
EG just like that, fighting their way out of this deficit. They've done it so many times here. Fudge trying to go deep onto Danny and gets punished big time. And Danny's basing now with 1,700 gold. Inspired's basing with 1,700 gold, 1,500 gold on Aatrox. Almost 1,200 there for Yuumi to spend up. So gonna be some big purchases coming in here.
And I'm really happy that we got to see this from EG because the momentum of the series was so bad. And I think C9 going too far for this is maybe part of their confidence. They felt like the game was going so well that anything was working because everything was working. But this was too far. Jojo had a good flank from the side. Getting to blow Berserker Cleanse is really huge for the next few minutes, and we'll see if EG can punish that even further. But really good for EG as a whole.
Oh, you're rocking this replay. Really good engage by, or re-engage position by jojopyun. The double root. Though Berserker cleansed it, they still got the damage down on him. So well done. But it is a 2,500 gold lead still. 2-0 on Drakes as well. Perhaps, who knows? But Cloud9 by the scoreboard at the top doing very well. Fudge gets away with a nice little dance there against Impact. The pressure is still on. 170 CS.
It's looking definitely pretty rough up there for Impact, but as long as he can hold on and defend his towers, it doesn't really matter if you're winning those trades. And C9 haven't really been up there to like kind of slam home the advantage with tower dives, so you're just trying to hold the tower, trying to scale. Danny now, though, has his second item, only 6 more mana until it's fully charged, so he is absolutely really strong right there. It just ticked over, so Mana Moon already done. Berserker on 1.5. Danny is like, can run the game at this point.
Yeah, and it looks like C9 is not even bothering to fight this dragon because they lost the previous fight.
Yeah.
And they have this Fiora. They're going to look for the dive.
Get a little bit of damage on a Blaber. Does not want to go for any more there. Doesn't find his second knockup. Q3 will go for the minion wave there instead. Then no harm, no foul. Third dragon spawning now. And of course, Blaber was just seen top lane. So you have to believe Drake should be yours to claim.
Yeah, and this is actually something that's quite under, like, it's not done by the lower tier teams that often. EG, instead of just all gravitating towards the dragon because that's the objective that's coming up, they actually were going top to defend Impact.
Yeah.
Because they know that C9 is not contesting this dragon at all, and they're actually doing it again. They're still not doing the dragon because they don't want to allow C9 to have this play.
Yeah, and it's really smart, right? It's thinking about what your opponent's wing conditions are instead of just yours. You're saying, all right, dragon is ours for sure, so what are they going to do? They're going to go top, so we'll defend that play. You can win out on both sides and prevent a potential trade. But at the end of the day, they are going to have to give that up as they move down into the bottom side river. You can see Impact is just farming Raptors. He knows he can't actually be up there anymore. So as soon as the coverage is gone, he backs it up, avoids any sort of death, just checking the Baron, making sure there's not any sort of sneaky rush.
Yep. I have to say this was a very well-played sequence from both teams, to be honest, because I do think C9 opting to fight at this point in time, when the AD carry items, you have no cleanse on Berserker, and AD carry item difference is so big.
Yeah.
Probably a losing fight. And I think, especially when you have the Fiora, you want to get her ahead. So C9 going for that top lane, I think, is correct, but EG doing a great job to lose the minimum amount.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, no cleanse, no flash on Berserker when JoJo has flash ult is like, you're dead.
Yeah.
There's not
no
really any
counterplay.
living that.
That's when you need the Mikhails.
Yeah, true.
That's why you get it.
Yeah.
He did go Australia, so...
Yeah, second item is much more common. I do think he should go with second item for sure. I
agree.
do still think it's really high value, even with cleanse.
Yeah, and I think just speaking about items, you see on the C9 side, 3 Merc Tracks on the top 3 members. That's because they have the Sejuani Lissandra. And that's going to make those champions feel so much worse, and their value to be so much lower whenever you're CCing any of these top side champions. Even Fudge is going Mercs because even though he's against Aatrox, who's all physical, essentially, he needs that CC reduction for a massive amount of CC coming out of the mid-jungle duo. I also didn't get to mention it, but I think Everfrost in a game like this from Lissandra isn't that high value. I would have liked to see potentially a Ludens or a Leandries, because when the enemy, you know the enemy team is going to stack so much tenacity, the route is not that long. And it's essentially only good against Aphelios because he doesn't have any tenacity, but he has the cleanse, he's going to use that, and if he doesn't have cleanse, he's dead anyway. So I don't personally like the item choice, but he did make it work in that mid-fight.
You know, going to play towards the top side. Shirley's popped there. They want to get into there to the 4v1, but it's not going to happen. Fudge plays safely enough to stay away. We sit 3,500 gold separating the squads. Yes, the third Drake went the way of EG, but if Cloud9 get control back, they are 2 items and a Berserker. I think any LDR second build, you're making it a 3-item build. LDR, he has like no damage to scale, but once IE comes in, now he's multiplying the IE damage and you really get to punch through. But this is the biggest power trap Aphelios will have.
Yeah, a lot of the other C9 members, though, completing their second item, and they are on pretty big spikes. You can see Fudge is actually already on the way towards his Ravenous, so 3-item spike will be massive for Fudge in that side lane. He's already very far ahead. Shadow Flame plus Ludens is done for Jensen, so a lot of flat spell pen there. You can see the Cleaver done as well there for Blaber, so big items coming in across the board. It's interesting to see the Anathema's second here for Inspired. Feels like he's probably just going to link up to Berserker, feeling like that's maybe the biggest threat for him.
And just looking from items, it looks like there's a huge item difference in top lane. And that is about...
Oh, already trying out of the tower. Wow. Yes, and they get it. Jensen gets kill credit. Ulti comes through. Tower dive. Beautiful. Cloud9 farther ahead.
Yeah, I mean, the lane is completely unplayable now.
Yeah.
The Aatrox cannot fight, especially if you have a LeBlanc there to help out. There's no chance you're going to live that. Impact time ends up burning Flash. I think as the later this game goes, I was trying to think about like who benefits more from the game going later. And on EG's side, you do have Ezreal Yuumi, which is really good the later the game goes, but you don't really have an answer to this Fiora. Like, you don't... Yeah. The 3 core of Aatrox, Sejuani, Lissandra will get 1v3'd at some point.
And he's going to try to get away. Chain doesn't going to much. Nice, I think. Vulcan jumped off, tanked the chain, came back in. So ensures that Danny gets out with just a single summoner down.
Yeah, really well played by Vulcan to actually be able to absorb the chain. You know, it does cost him the exhaust, but is able to get out of there. And I agree with you, right? It's obviously going to come down to how you can play the map, because to me, the late game becomes C9 trying to create advantages through side and avoid any sort of engage. And EG is going to have to collapse and look for those engages with Lissandra and Sejuani, right? And it becomes really, really difficult. As nice Gale Force there. We'll dodge out on the ulti.
Relatively similar cooldowns. I think Gale Force is still 90 seconds right now, and with a little bit of tenacity, or I should say a bit of really haste, all 3 items for the Sedge. Might actually come up first. Yeah, it looks like it will, based on the ticker so far. So that could be really important because Drake comes up. Gale Force should still be down, but Sedge will be up.
And something that will come into play, I'm sure, later in the game is Danny having teleport. Ezreal is really the only person that's going to be able to kill this Fiora, I feel, in this game. And obviously he won't do it 1v1, but he will be able to go into the side lane to help out Impact to deal with the Fiora and still be able to TP into the fight. I have a feeling that'll come in play soon. Coming up for this Dragon, though, I'm curious if C9 will fight because they do have a huge item lead on the Fiora.
Thank you, crowd. I hope the mic's picking that up, but they are giving us some nice crowd interaction. We'll get more later, I'm pretty sure. Ward goes down, Ward goes up. Can't explain that. Inspired getting control for Vision on that side of the map. 15 seconds on Cloud Drake, everyone's favorite, most maligned soul. And right now, Cloud9 have a couple extra wards down there. EG gonna try to fight back for this one. They have the groups.
Fiora going up to top lane right as Dragon spawns. It's a bit late. I feel like you want to do this a bit earlier right now than right now.
They're trying all the same. Blaber back over the wall. River control should belong here to EG. As Bit is fought for, Danny can knock down the cannons. top tier 2 maybe traded for a Drake that won't mean much.
Yeah, it feels like they're just deciding to give it up, right? Just buy more time for Fiora, try to open up the map. You're going to take that tier 2 down. Jojo almost gets killed by Jensen, and now they can actually potentially contest because Jojo's got to go back to base.
Yeah, they see him with the blue trinket. He's got to get all the way across and be careful. Jensen's on the track. Jensen's going to look for him. Jensen sees him. The flash in, a self-ult. But they're going to have that kill, you got to believe. TD comes in for Fudge. Quick reset on the Drake. Jojo gets out. Danny over the wall. They're going to try to find a single kill as recompense. And they might actually drop the Drake for now. Daniel going for the next side of the team fight. Impact still around. Blaber wants to engage. Can't find it yet, but almost. Inspired drops. Flash to the wall. Stays safe for now. Blaber clone drops. A quick slow out of the Yuumi.
Oh, Danny on the chase.
Running. Danny's got a red buff, but Danny's getting attacked. Danny flashes back, but Blaber takes him down. The crab in his eyes, and he kills him. Out of the tower at 3-0. Cloud9 won't quit.
Cloud9 just going off, man. This team fighting. As soon as Danny goes forward, everyone turns and collapses onto him, bursts him down. Cloud9 are going to go right over to the Baron here. It looks like they're, okay, no, they're going to think better of that. They are just going to do the Dragon on the bot side, take away some camps, push out mid. Health bars are a little bit too low. Baron would have been pretty overzealous, but the pings were coming out immediately on it. You could see that they were getting a bit hypey.
I'm curious if they didn't do Baron because Ezreal has TP.
Yeah.
And that could be something that they're thinking about. I do think they could have gotten the Baron if Ezreal didn't, like they knew Ezreal wouldn't be there, but they're taking the safe play. They have 3 Drakes now, so they will always have that potential soul coming in. And this chunk from Jensen is absolutely critical to the situation.
Yeah, I mean, 90% of his health is gone, right? And Jojo backs it up, doesn't actually have any vision in that area, so doesn't realize that Jensen's coming over. Does get the self-ulti off, but you can see Danny's collapsing back to try to help him out. So then Cloud9 just hard engage on the other side and completely push them off. You know, Danny's kind of doing this ring around the rosy with Jensen. You know, does find an angle to start getting some damage out here on the side, but Fudge on the right side of your screen is winning out, you know, in that scrap. And as Danny goes forward, just everyone watches and turns on him.
And Berserker essentially is doing the same thing as Danny, but it actually worked. Danny was trying to make the big play to win this team fight, but Berserker still had all of his juice. He had the ultimate, he had the Gale Force, and this is one of the things that Aphelios can do. He can randomly just one-shot your whole team, and it's why this champion isn't as prioritized as Sivir and Zeri, but it's still a very strong champion.
Ooh, the double Berserk buys some time.
Oh, Fudge in trouble.
And Fudge, they knock him down. Chase in for more as Zven was locked in the brush now as well. 2-0. Maybe a chance at Baron for a comeback.
I think they should go for it. It's objective bounties. You know, you are so far down in this game, 2 people dead. At the very least, you can look for a turn. Blaber has no flash. They'll have the timer on that, so if they can track him.
Huge engage by Blaber. Doesn't find the kills just yet. They go back out for a second. Jensen plays it well also. Health bar's gonna be a bit low, but they've got a Yuumi heal back up. Summoner heal is down, but at least you can spam buttons. They're gonna try on the 5v4.
I don't know about this one. I think this might be...
I mean, it's desperate.
Ooh, it is very scary.
I mean, you're down 6K. Maybe this is your only shot at winning the game, right?
It absolutely could be. Jojo does still have ultimate, so that is something to keep in mind. They do have a turning tool. I think C9 is probably going to try to fight this, and it'll just come down to mechanics at this point.
Can you find Blaber? He's got half a health bar. It's going to be a smite fight pretty soon into the mix. Danny gets one in a Jensen. They trade back Aatrox. Blaber's coming around. Wants to find it. The bounty is claimed. The smite comes through.
Oh,
Danny's alive. And Danny in the Baron pit just kills all of Cloud9.
Danny and the Baron pit, name a more iconic duo. This man just can't miss around the Baron. Danny gets a triple. They get the objective bounty and the Baron. They were down 8,000 gold. It is now 2.5K here. Let's watch it one more time. A good job here over on the side, getting that chunk down onto Jojo, but the ulti comes out on Jensen as he goes in. He gets deleted, and then creating a lot of space here for Danny. He's able to nail so many of these Qs.
So well played by EG. Danny coming up huge for them. This is why this is why everyone thinks he's so good.
Yep.
And he makes plays like this, especially at Baron, and these are the kinds of plays that are the most important.
God.
That damage is ridiculous.
Yeah.
I mean, this is every single fight though, no? Both AD carries have 10 times more damage than everyone else in the game combined. That's always how
AD
it looks
carry
from
is
my
weak? Is
perspective,
that what you're saying?
yeah, I mean, it probably needs buffs, you know?
Yeah, I just think it's funny. This is like, oh, it's Zeri, it's Sivir. The Serp's like, they're doing on like the 5th, 6th picks. Like, these guys just really cracked, as it turns out. It's like Yuumi's pretty good at making AD carries carry a game. So close into the game as well. Now, that said, it is 3-1 in Drake's.
Yep.
Red Bull Baron power play, yes, it included the shutdown, so it's 3,500 gold. But they're still behind. They still cannot win top lane.
Yeah, and that's never going to change. I mean, Fudge is up over 3,000 gold here. You know, should be able to run this one out, no problem. But they do have a way to win the game now, right? You know, Danny is now the richest member in the game, right? He's at 14,000 gold here. The richest member over on the side of C9 is Fudge down there about 1K-ish behind him. Of course, he's going to run that side lane start to finish, but EG have ways to win now, and it's realistic to think that they can compete in the team fights, right? They can show up at this next dragon, and it's down to execution. It's not just a wallet diff guaranteed.
Yeah, and realistically, it comes down to Danny's execution.
Yeah.
Danny on Ezreal in this moment, he has a Frozen Art and the Divine Thunder. He is so tanky. He's actually quite hard to kill. Has the Yuumi as well.
Of course, almost a root. Decent damage from the ulti there as well as Sejuani lands. And Yuumi healing back up to full HP. It's going to be okay. 40 seconds on the Drake spawn. It would be soul for Cloud9. It'll be as the Baron times out for EG.
I mean, you talked about it a lot, but like he has had so many iconic moments in such a short career, right? Like he has a number of plays that are like top 3, top 5 LCS plays all time, and he's been around for like a year and a half. It's pretty insane.
Yeah, he makes it happen in the team fights. And this is like this. Like if I was on the enemy team, I would want anyone except Danny playing Ezreal right now. You know, like Hans, anybody except Danny, because Danny is so mechanically gifted. He dodges spells and knows when to go in, and really accurately can assess the situation quickly to know when is the correct time to go in and make these game-winning plays.
Yeah, I mean, you have to be able to figure it all out like instantly, right? You have to have that. It has to be almost instinctual, right? You can't really pause. You have to see the moment and then go right for it. And he is able to both recognize it and then execute on these incredibly difficult plays to come up with these highlight moments that other players, I think, a lot of times wouldn't even attempt to do because they wouldn't necessarily have seen the window.
They wouldn't attempt to do it, and they would only think of it after the game. They'd be like, oh, if I was like really insane, I would, you know, jump this wall and go in. As soon as they rise all behind me, I'd run and jump forward on Tristana. That's what I should do. And, you know, he makes it happen.
Bring the game back now. Second Drake goes to Evil Geniuses. Cloud9, I think rightly give that one up. A lot of mid-control, mid-tier 1 and 2 both dropped. Brings the gold back to 2,500. The pressure valve, though, still here. Fudge in the side lane. Very, very hard to answer. Danny goes for more defensive build. You can see Frozen Heart is in. Hex Drinker is next. So yeah, just goes for a very bruisery build. I checked solo queue data. Divine Thunder is still like not terribly performant. It's also not very popular for Ezreal's, but he's like, I'm picking the like I'm very tanky option. He was one of the big players who was still doing Titanic. Zeri, for example.
Yes.
He tweeted about it. People were asking like, why are we seeing all these Titanic Zeris? And he's like, well, in some games you do it. Like, don't blame me. It's an occasional game kind of thing. This game he decides also I need to go for a tankier build. He's against a Fiora, Wukong, Lissandra, or LeBlanc. He's like, I want to not die to the burst.
And I think that makes a lot of sense, right? You know, all the builds are always based on context and based on the enemy team, based on what you think you can or can't do. You know, attack speed is going to be less valuable as well in this game because it's a Fiora and a Wukong, and all these champions are going to jump in instantly and try to one-shot you. So I think it makes sense.
And I think we were mentioning that C9, or excuse me, EG doesn't have really a way to deal with the Fiora, but C9 doesn't really have a way to deal with a super fed Ezreal with a Yuumi on top of him. He's going the Frozen Heart Mom Malmorius build on Ezreal, which means he's super tanky, but if they hit the flank...
On the front, pull back into Inspired, stopwatch for some time. Danny running away though, Fudge is on! Fudge is gonna deal with them! And Fudge has got a full house cheering his name now as well! Vulcan dropped 3 for nothing!
They might try to end.
Ablazeolive, welcome to your caster curse, buddy. No one can deal with Danny's Ezreal except Fudge, who takes matters in his own hand.
You're welcome.
Yep. Go fish, EG. We got mid getting crushed right now. Inhibitor turret going to be there. Impact wants to cut the wave, but there's already a wave here.
Yeah, and so it's going to be up to Jojo. He does have self-ult, so maybe you just try to go in and kill the wave here right away.
Yeah, might die for it. Roots in place, pull back, there's the self-ult. No, it's a stopwatch.
Oh, they're going to get it.
It's going to be the turrets falling. A couple minions die. The Nexus falls. Cloud9 2-0 EG.
Cloud9 taking us to match point here off of a heroic PP from Fudge. Finds the angle to get in on Danny, even with the Yuumi ultimate, even with his flash, getting in on him, taking him down. It's that key moment, finding that engage there that gets Cloud9 the win. I've got to say, Fudge has been insane in this series so far. Both games finding solo kills on impact, both games finding the window for the counter pick and for that, you know, kind of really deadly 1v1, going at him with, you know, really heavily skill-based champions, the Camila and the Fiora.
And not just Fudge, I feel like all of C9 is really clicking well today. They look like a completely different team than their series against CLG, where I feel they didn't look nearly this coordinated, but coming against EG, they just look like the better team. Just they might make some mistakes, but they're generally winning the fights. They're finding the angles even when they're difficult. Things go wrong, they bring it back.
I'm just cool to see the depth of counter picks here for Fudge. He has been given the option of what lane he wants, and it's been stellar every single time. Gyotto yesterday on interview said, I really want me last year I just felt like I wanted a top laner who had good counter picks available, which is a friendly dig at revenge. But I just think back into the series. Yeah, in his interview, like it was a joke. But it's like, I'm just like, man, you could release a top laner who has good Aatrox counter picks, because Fudge made Impact look silly both games.
I mean, I just think it's so impressive, and it's cool because I think, when people saw this roster created for Cloud9, or I can speak for myself, when I saw this roster created for Cloud9, I thought that the ceiling would be incredibly high, but there were so many ifs, right? Is Jensen going to be able to return to form after a year off? Is this role swap going to actually work for Zven? Can Fudge get back to the level that he was at after playing mid lane? There's all these question marks, and this is kind of like the prophesized Cloud9, where it feels like they're hitting that skill ceiling right at the right time against the best team in the league, and they're looking incredible.
This is exactly what all the C9 fans were hoping for when this roster was created.
Yeah.
And there's no better time than now. Up against EG, if they win this series, they go to Worlds, which is huge.
Yep.
And I think, can you imagine an EG versus TL lower bracket for Worlds?
We got some bangers in this playoffs, man.
This is going to be crazy.
It's so exciting now. It's gotten less competitive.
Yeah, and of course, CLG and TSM have a chance of fighting for that one as well, but it's going to be, of course, tough road. So thank you, Ablazeolive.
Thank
you
you.
are wonderful as always. And now we're going to head over to State Farm Analyst Desk. See you there.
Thank you so much, Phreak. 2-0 now for Cloud9.
Jazz looking great.
A preemptive victory? No, you can't. No, I did have a question for you, but I feel like you've already answered the question I was going to ask. Does it feel good to be you?
Yeah, it does. Congratulations to C9. There's no way EG comes back from that.
There it is. There it is.
Not that Alex.
I better not see the tweets now that it's already been said. Let's talk about how they did it, because you heard Azael, Phreak, Ablazeolive talking about it. Fudge is popping off in this series, Emily, and C9 is happy to give him picks to run wild with.
Yeah, so obviously on EG side, we have something they're super comfortable with, the Lissandra counter pick into LeBlanc. I actually thought Jojo played phenomenally well in this game, but focusing on getting Fudge counter picks since EG did pick that Aatrox first is a really interesting strategy. And again, when you're going up against EG and you feel like maybe we can't out teamfight them, I definitely like C9's focus on being like, we have this top laner, we can send to sides, we can set up a 4-1, we can set up a 1-3-1, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I really loved Evil Genius's first half of their draft. Did not like their second half, right? The first half I thought was incredibly smart. So you have Yuumi and Sejuani. The Sejuani is a good flex. And then, of course, like depending on the AD carry pick that C9 would go for, they can either go for like the Ezreal, the Twitch. And if they go for early Draven pick, they can go MF. Like I actually thought that was incredibly smart. The second half, I really wanted them to go top lane 5th pick. Because then the Sejuani is a true flex. And you wouldn't just be telling C9 100% we are going Sejuani jungle. And so when they put Aatrox 4 pick, then it makes for this counter pick so much more impactful. And Fudge is the type of person to really abuse it. He is one of the most creative top laners in our leagues. And so if you give him an opportunity to go towards a Fiora, he will do it.
I just love Zven's fixation on that tablet. Like
yes.
every time we look at him, he's in there. I feel like Zen
The notebook has evolved.
Yeah, I was going to say, he's the new C9 support. He's like taking over in the history of Lemon Nation,
You know what he's saying at this moment right now?
Step aside, Max Waldo.
He's like, pause. Pause right here.
Pause right here. I mean, so
he's so intense about it too. Look at him. It's great.
Moving a little bit less specific on draft and more general.
Yes.
The Camille and the Fiora are so against the grain of what everyone else is doing.
Yes.
So it's very hard for EG to have familiarity or practice against it. Almost no one has been able to win through split push. And even though C9 didn't technically win through split push, they created so much pressure. They made the side lane so difficult for EG to play. Like, if EG can solve this, they'll come roaring back in the series, but if they don't, we'd be seeing a 3-0.
Exactly. And kind of funny enough, when we talk about the top lane, it was not decided through that. It was decided through what was happening bot lane, the 2v2 kill that happened through there, and then the constant ganks that were actually levied towards mid lane. jojopyun was bullied through 2 ganks that happened. I think he played well around it. You know, when he was after he died. After the first death, great. Then he died again. You're like, okay, so we're just in a deficit in both of our lanes.
Yeah, and I think the big hero of C9's early game here absolutely has been Blaber.
Yeah.
He's been able to track Inspired. Obviously, like, that's a team effort as well, but he's been all over the place in these first 2 games in C9's early game. And this, again, I know Olive brought it up on cast. We've said it so many times. This is what we have wanted. This is the C9 we have wanted to see. Right
here, it definitely felt like EG was pulling off their team fighting magic. They constant in the bottom river. They got back-to-back objective bounties. Ezreal hit Frozen Heart. And then this, I mean, he's a bruiser, so why not just kill him with Fiora? That's the solution. That's the genius of this play.
Yeah, I do like that we got a moment to look at that Baron play, though, because it does give us the inkling of the EG, you know, that championship form EG, what they are spectacular at, and that you can't give them an inch in that sense. If you gave them another mid-game team fight, that game is probably theirs.
We've had a few, you know, series around the globe that have, even just one yesterday actually, that even though it's a 2-0 at the start, you have to be concerned and you have to finish the series now.
We had one this morning.
There it is.
Yeah.
You're right. I don't even know why I didn't turn this.
All the days are bleeding together.
It really is. And so you just have to finish the team off, because right now Evil Geniuses can very well make that comeback. As you mentioned it, in this game, through that Baron situation, was making that comeback. So Evil Geniuses, as you can see right now, are choosing red side again. Yeah. I just want them to use it properly. As I said, I don't think the draft actually was impactful for this game. The Blaber ganks through mid lane was super influential. The 2v2 kills that Berserker had bot side of the map with Zven was super influential, but I still think it plays a factor.
Okay. As the only person to pick C9, I am now giving anyone the opportunity to join me. Dash, I know you frequently pick C9. Jumping ship?
Oh! I'm jumping ship.
Hell
Are you kidding me? Have you been watching the same games I'm watching?
And you gave me shit for flip-flopping?
Yeah, but he's going to be right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the difference.
Yeah, you were wrong.
You were wrong twice.
So
I was wrong yesterday.
C9 just need 1 win. EG need 3. Who would not flip right now?
Absolutely.
I would rather stick with my original prediction only because I always feel bad retracting. Like, I went in expecting one thing. If I'm wrong, that's fine. I'll take that L.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that.
I won't.
Dash
I'm a
must be
winner.
right.
You know what
I'm
okay
joining
with?
a winning team.
You know what I'm okay with? Being wrong just once.
Just once?
Just once.
You've only been wrong once?
Right now,
Is that
just
the case?
once.
Flip, flip, flip.
Today, just once.
All right.
Okay, EG picked red.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
How do they do it?
we saw vastly different drafts, right? Like they took out the handshake. They took out Sivir as well as Zeri.
True.
And I think the Ezreal actually had a fair bit of success. So do you think the tweak is going to be just 5 pick for Impact?
I think so. I really do. Even if it's just the same, even if he just goes back to the Aatrox, honestly, it just comes down to a more comfortable pick for Impact into what Fudge is willing to blind here. And we might see something new. In the LCK, we saw that tank Mordekaiser, and we know that Impact is a Mordekaiser player. If the angle is there for him, he'll go for it. So that's what I'm interested in.
Well, it's not up to us to find the answer. It's up to our defending champions. Cloud9 have brought us to match point. We'll see if they can claim the series and their world spot in Game 3 right after this.
Danny's got a red buff, but Danny's getting attacked. Danny flashes back, but Blaber takes him down. The crab in his eyes, and he kills him. Out of the tower, a 3 for 0. Cloud9. He's got half a health bar. It's going to be a smite fight pretty soon into the mix. Danny gets one in a chance. They trade back Aatrox. Blaber's coming around, wants to find it. The bounty is claimed. The smite comes through. Oh, Danny's alive. And Danny in the Baron pit.
I'm just looking for any flash, any flash, any no flash, yes, kill Sejuani. Sejuani flash, change. We can end, okay. Yes, we can end. Okay, wait, we can end.
Welcome back to a shocking assist of the week, presented by State Farm. This assist goes to Fudge for a devastating shockwave follow-up after waiting out the first exhaust from CLG.
Alive, tries to get back away. CLG still here on the front line, grabbing the kill on Fang. Fudge slices them to pieces. A double kill twice. An 8 for 1 for C9.
It's the Fudge factor, baby!
Ah, yes, the king of the jungle. Time for a Red Bull. Red Bull? Still, you'll never be faster than a lion. I don't have to be quicker than the lion, just faster than you. Red Bull gives you wings.